standing right now on the bridge of the suite of Constitution class Starship sets here at the neutral zone in Kingsland, Georgia, and it's Kingsland, Georgia. And you got to check it out. It's neutralzonestudios.com. And what I want to talk about right now, I'm going to be doing a talk on the Constitution, or I'm sorry, on the Constellation and the Doomsday Machine and that wonderful episode. And I'm going to be doing that in a few minutes. But we've actually got some folks who've showed up here. There's several tours going on right now. And I'm at the very end of the tour on the bridge. And so I have about 10 or 15 minutes. So I figured I would just throw it on and say hi to you guys. We are going to be, this is in many parts. If you go back and look yesterday, I was wearing a red shirt and didn't die, which is awesome. But we did a complete tour of the studio yesterday. So we're not going to be doing that today. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be talking to you a little bit more about what they do here. And I'm also going to talk to you a little bit more about fan productions and about some of the neat things that happened on the original set and also on this set as the fan productions were being made. Star Trek Continues and so many others. Now, behind me, you see the navigation and helm console right here behind me with the proximity alert light blinking there. And this is so cool because it really looks just exactly like it was in the show, which to me just means everything. And of course, the captain's chair back there. If you ever dreamed about sitting in the captain's chair, you get to do it here. It's great. You get to go sit right in that chair. The only rules they have here is they don't want you laying in the beds. They don't want you climbing ladders. And they don't want you digging around behind the sets. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not a lot of rules here. And they want you to come. They want you to have a good time. And they want you to take your time to walk through and enjoy the sets. And that's what we've done. We spent the whole weekend here basically just walking around and trying to stay out of everybody's way. In the meantime, shooting some things for you guys to see. Now, I want to tell you about this particular set right here, the bridge set. What an iconic set this is. I want you to think about something. Up until this time, no one had ever thought about this bridge design. Navy ships weren't using it. No one was using it. This was something that they came up, and I say they, it wasn't just Gene. It was Gene, it was Coons, it was Jeffries, it was all these people that were involved in this production back then, got together and they came up with this round design right here. And remember, Gene Roddenberry was in the military, okay, and he understood command and control and things like that. And I think a lot of that went into what you see here. But think about this: the captain sits right here, okay, right in the center. He can spin that chair around and he can address any one of his people on the bridge directly. And then that person can spin around and go right back to their controls again. If you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Now, there was some revisions to the Next Generation set, and even I think the Voyager bridge is a really great bridge because of the way they've got the two stations facing forward. So your work is in front of you and the captain's in front of that. I think that was a neat design. But looking at this, what an amazing, amazing design this was. Look what's right behind the captain. Communications, right? What's the captain need to make sure that he has at all times? Communications, both inter-ship communications as well as external communications with both Starfleet and also opening frequencies to speak to other ships. And that was an important job right there, and it was right behind the captain at all times. Over his right shoulder, his number one. Now, something you may not realize, not all first officers were science officers. Some first officers were command officers. Some first officers might be the engineer of the ship. Nothing said that you had to pick a certain person as your number one. You can pick anyone. So you could literally have someone that is, a lieutenant commander that works as the security chief, for instance. He could be your XO. So it didn't really matter as long as that person was qualified for the job. And so in the case of Star Trek, Mr. Spock, who was a lieutenant, who was a full commander, was the second in command on the ship. He was also the XO, and he was the science officer. He held three, basically a rank and two jobs, and in that was the way that was. A lot of times they were gone. So who is the captain? Scotty was. Jimmy Doohan, my boy. I love Scotty. He's my favorite character and one of my favorite actors of all time. And I love when he was in command of the Enterprise. Uh, so many of them, Armageddon was. I can think of 5 or 6 good episodes where Scotty was in command of the Enterprise, and he was pulling it out, getting it done, and I just love those episodes. Over here, this part of the set behind me, you don't really see on TV. There was a couple of episodes where you see it. One specific episode we're going to talk about in a few minutes, the Doomsday Machine. It's the only episode where they come out of the turbo lift and they walk all the way around the set, and they walk in front of the view screen. The only other time they do that is Spock's brain. They go up and they start referring to a map that's on the screen. Pavel Chekhov stands up there and points at the map that's up on the screen. That's one of the few times you don't see. The only shot you normally see is either a shot of just the screen or a shot of the command chair looking over Sulu's shoulder. And every single time, that's that famous shot, okay? I'm gonna take you guys on a ride. That famous shot, right? From right here. You take this shot right here, right? We're looking right over the command chair. There's the shot. Sulu would be sitting right there. Yeah, right there. And he would look over his shoulder. He would look over his shoulder back at the captain, and you would only see this guy's shoulder. You want to know why? That was shot first season before Walter Koenig came on the show. So every time you see that, you think that's Chekhov in the right chair, but that's actually someone else's arm, and that's a stock shot of Sulu looking back at the captain. I think they use it 12 or 14 times during the run of the show. So that's really cool. And then over here to the captain's left, when he takes and he looks to the left, you got engineering. Engineering this was a station that I think a lot of people was a little underrated. This was the station where Scotty would work, and he would have control of all the different engineering functions from these consoles here. If you remember the episode where they were hurling out of the galaxy and they were being controlled by aliens, and Scotty came up with a plan to blow up the ship. It was this button right here that would have blown up the ship. Now I hit it now and nothing happens, which is good. But that button was rigged to blow up the ship. Hey everybody, I see some folks coming in. My wife's in there, and Pam, and there's several others in there. I'll see you guys when you pop back up again. I'm sorry, I'm a little far from the phone. Anyway, there was one of these viewers here. I discussed those in one of my videos yesterday, so I'm not going to go back through that. But I want to finish up on the design of the bridge. The design of the bridge is so special. And what's special about it is the fact that no matter where you are in this bridge, no matter where you work, okay, and of course, remember, there's supposed to be 2 more workstations right there. Wherever you worked on the bridge, whatever job you did, whether you did security, whether you did science, whether you did communications, engineering, and that station over there is believed to be like environmental control, backup engineering. And then there's even another station down there that was a little bit ambiguous as to whether someone worked there or not. Most of the time there was no chair there. But there's the shot from here. And I was told, I can confirm, that is in fact a 100-inch television that makes up the view screen, and then they've got a thin line of blue LEDs that run around it to give it that neat blue glow that was actually part of the process back in the 60s of putting that image in the screen itself. But now we do it for nostalgic reasons because we want it to look like the show looked. And so isn't that really cool? They went to every detail here. They really did. Look at this. I mean, they went to every detail. We've seen this in every episode. Every episode of Star Trek, you see this. And to actually walk up and look at this, the detail that they've put into all of the graphics and the different things that they have up here. This is interesting. USS Constitution. You're probably asking what's the deal. Well, um, part of the agreement with Paramount, we don't actually call this the Enterprise. It's a Constitution class bridge, like the one on the Enterprise, or like the one on the Constellation, like the one on the Exeter, like the one on any of them, any of the Excalibur, any of the ships out there, all had this same exact bridge and the same exact rooms and cabins and everything. So no matter what ship you think you're on, you never know. You got to go read the nameplate. Right now, we're on the USS Constitution, and that's because this was the last fan film to be shot here. Each fan film brings their own plaque to put here when they're shooting, so that they're on their ship. It's really cool when you think about it, and of course, here's the light that blinks when there's something wrong. When we are at red alert. What an amazing thing to be able to actually visit my ship of dreams. Growing up as a child, I really just dreamed every day of being able to one day walk on this bridge. And the last time I came here and I walked out on this bridge, I got emotional. I never thought I'd actually get to see it, either a set or a real ship or anything. I never thought I'd see anything. And Yeah, this is great. Yeah, this is the Constitution class suite of sets. And again, we call it that just because we want to follow the rules. Um, the uh, the Enterprise was the ship, of course, on Star Trek, and but all the ships had the same interior. What's neat is, and I said this in my earlier video, um, when a fan film comes here, this ship just becomes whatever you need it to be for that particular fan film, and that's what I really like. All right, the tour is getting pretty close. I think they're doing the Jeffries tube out there now, and I showed you guys to go check out all of the videos from the other day, from yesterday. I've got a 5-part tour of this entire set. You can check the whole thing out, and we're going to be coming back in just a little while. I'm going to be going over to auxiliary control when I can get a second in there. That's a busy room. In this set, auxiliary control is also the set where they shot a lot of other things. This admiral's office, this area down on the planet, it was kind of the multi-purpose set, and they would just move out the console out of there, and they would put in whatever they needed and dress it up to be whatever set they need it to be. And so that's kind of a neat multi-purpose room. But of course, they leave it set up like the auxiliary control room, which is what it's used for most. All the other sets are pretty much set the way they are. Now, they can all be moved around pretty easily if you need to move them around to shoot. The walls and everything. This is places called Neutral Zone Studios, and you can find out more at neutralzonestudios.com. They actually do parties. You can rent the place, and there's a lot of limits to what you can do in here. No drinks or anything, because this is a working set. It's still used by fans all the time to shoot your fan productions. If you want to shoot a fan production, bring your crew, schedule your date, make your donation, and you can have this entire suite of studios at your disposal. And it's really cool. And there's even some outdoor locations around here where they can help you go places to shoot outdoors. There's a lot of shooting that goes on here. Month to month, there's different crews coming in all the time shooting in here. And then, of course, every month they have a fan appreciation open house, which is what I'm on today, which is a leisurely day where you can just come and hang out and see everything there is to see here. And then, of course, there is the tour days, the fan appreciation tour days. And on those, they give intense tours every 30-40 minutes or so. They'll start a new intense tour of every single detail of every set, and it's wonderful. And I suggest coming to the tour one first, and then if you are enamored like I am, then come back on an open house and spend the whole weekend and get to know everybody here, and just have a really good time. The set is it's in a neat little town, and we're staying in a hotel that's about 5 miles away. It's the Best Western, great hotel. And the reason I mention that, this is not an ad for Best Western, but they give a really good rate to the studio, and that gets passed on to you If you're signed up for one of these events, you get a little button, you click it, you get the room for about $50 off a night. So it's really worth it to go check that out. That's all I'm going to say about that. But you really get it. Really makes a really nice hotel room available for most of us out there. So that's really nice. And the other thing about this is when you come here, you're never rushed out. They're open till 5 o'clock or whatever, and you can pretty much come early, stay late. That's what we do, and we just love the place. So I'm going to let you go for now. The tour is coming around the bend, so I'm going to let you go. I'll be back in just a little while for that. I want to do a little exploratory episode on my favorite episode of Star Trek, and I'm going to do it from the auxiliary control room on board the USS Constellation. So I'll be coming to you live from there in just a few minutes. In the meantime, this is Starship Adventures. My name's Ian. I'm here with my wife, Carlotta Alata, and we're going to be here all weekend. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Pam from customer service, and I know there was a number of others in there earlier. Thank you guys for coming in. I really appreciate everybody hanging out this weekend with us, and please share our videos and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. They're free. All right, have a good one, everybody. We'll see you in just a little while back in auxiliary control.